Okay, welcome everyone. We're going to get started. Welcome to today's month 2 of our onboarding program. I'm Suzanne Carowin. I'm AVP of Membership and Marketing. And to join today is Jade Paczelt from Real Wealth Marketing, who's going to talk about, without a doubt, probably our most popular, at least one of the top 3 popular benefits that's coming from your NAIFA membership dollar. And she's going to go through that today. Couple of housekeeping items. This is being recorded. Also, if you have a question for Jade, you can either use the chat function or you can use Q&A. I'll monitor both. And I'll go ahead and take any of those. And at the end of Jade's presentation, I'll go ahead and monitor those back to her and she can answer in real time. Again, yeah, any questions you have with that, if you need to find that, just take your cursor, scroll down to the bottom, and the gray bar will pop up, and you can go ahead and either use either one, Q&A or chat, whatever you fancy, and we'll be able to get through this. And also, I just want to let everyone know this is an advantage. This is a benefit that you can take advantage of right away, and Jade's going to walk you through all of the pieces of that. So, with no further ado, Jade, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today, and please, the floor is yours.
Yes, thanks for having me. Can you all see my screen pretty good? Everything looks nice?
Yep, everything looks good.
Great, okay. All right, so hopefully I'm really going to dive into the weeds today. And not only am I going to be showing you some slides and giving you some history and in-depth information as to why it's effective and what's going on, I'm also going to do some live demonstrations of what it actually looks like, how you can use it, and the options that are available to you. So you guys are going to get a whole lot of great information. So. But as Suzanne said, please feel free to ask questions as we go. I want to make sure everyone is in tune with what's going on. So before I jump in, I do just want to take a couple minutes to give you a little bit of the history. This whole NAIFA ClientCast in our parent company is Real Wealth Marketing. This actually started out as a radio show a couple decades back. Our host and founder, Jim, is a NAIFA member, very proud NAIFA member. He's a registered representative, financial advisor, and what makes him and our program unique in the history is that Jim serves a community where, I'm not kidding, the population here is 4,004. So there's probably about as many cows as there are people. And so it just kind of forces someone to market all that much more because, he doesn't have doctors and lawyers and high net worth clients running around. These are Main Street Americans, the people that need advice the most, and however are more likely to get it from bad infomercials and one size fits all advice. So he found the radio is a really great way to educate his community. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that there's something about, if you're on the radio or you're bringing guests in, it just automatically adds some credibility to you. So it was a really great way to reach out to the community. And that grew and grew into something that he decided to, offer it to other advisors, and people were buying up zip codes and there was sponsor money. And then 2008 happened, and I'm sure you all know what, what happened. Overnight, whoosh, sponsors pulled out, money pulled out. So that kind of went black, and so Real Wealth reinvented itself as an online podcast, and it's been so fun because from then to now, it's not just the show, it's email and social media, and we've been growing with it, not just the financial industry, but with the marketing industry as well, and that's where we're here, why we're here. We're here to bridge that gap for you. And then finally, the podcast became a really great resource for advisors and agents and other financial professionals to share with their community. That spawned off the other half of our program that I'll be explaining. Everything is in 2 halves because all the different concepts and strategies that are being shared on the show, we just couldn't take enough of the phone calls of the advisors calling us saying, hey, this is really great. How do I get more information on this for my clients? So what turned into these small study session webinars blossomed into the other half of our program. So I want to make that really clear off the bat that everything I'm going to be sharing with you is broken into 2 distinct halves for 2 distinct audiences. The first half of what we do is the NAIFA ClientCast podcast. That's the official name of the consumer show that you as a NAIFA member now have access to for free, and you can share this with your community. And then the other half of our program is Power Session Live. This is an advisor training webinar series, and this is one of the most highly participated in, highest rated webinars in the industry because we have great speakers sharing sales ideas with you all the time. And again, guess what? You're a NAPA member, you get invited to attend for free. So this is all really great stuff. So diving into the weeds, I'm really actually going to show you stuff now. So I'm actually going to start off with the Power Session Live half. That's just a little bit easier to explain conceptually. It's a webinar and you can come. So it's really great. And I'll dive into, all the moving parts of the consumer marketing content next. But as far as Power Session Live goes, this is really great for a number of reasons. Both halves of the program, in fact, always feature guests. It's not just one guy, it's not just Jim telling you his ideas or telling consumers what he thinks. This is all bringing in from the camaraderie and network that you experience with NAPA. So a lot of these names and the speakers you've heard of in the industry and are very, very well respected, especially in the NAPA channel. So that's where all of this networking comes in, and you can take advantage of it, and we package it all as part of your NAPA ClientCast benefit. What's really neat about the types of speakers you're going to see on Power Session Live is that it's not just sales ideas, it's not just industry updates, it's not just best practice strategies, it's all of the above. It's business building, it's be the best you can be webinars, basically. And, just from the sampling of speakers I have on the screen here, something that's really fun about it is, like Ed Slott and Tom Hegna. Very popular speakers in the industry. I'm sure you've seen them or heard of them. They have PBS specials. Consumers even know who these people are. And they're really popular. So you're obviously going to get some great tax-saving sales idea from Ed Slott CPA. And you're going to get really great retirement strategies and language from Tom Hegna. That's a given. But the others are here to kind of round out the sample pool for you because, for example, Gina Pellegrini, she did a whole webinar on how to run your office efficiently, and that is significantly going to impact your bottom line. How much time and money are you wasting on interrupting your staff? How often do you talk to your team members? How do they schedule appointments in your calendar? How do you arrange that? So that was an incredible webinar on how to arrange your office to be optimal. Camille Snyder, this was a phenomenal presentation. She was our featured Disability Insurance Awareness Month speaker because not only is she a top DI producer, but she also is a cancer survivor. She's randomly got diagnosed with tongue cancer at the age of 24. And so she has some very powerful and effective sales ideas for you because she wishes she was told that. And now she's a top DI agent, NAPA president of her state. So she's had some really, really, really great ideas for you on that webinar. And then Iselfi Taylor, he was a NAPA for under 40. And he was a great presenter on our webinar because he presented side by side with Rao Garuda, who only prospects with billionaires. Must be nice, right? Well, Rao's been in the industry forever, whereas Iselfi, as I mentioned, is a NAPA 4 under 40. So having those two perspectives in one presentation, Rao's a seasoned advisor. Iselfi is up and coming and has hot new ideas. So these two legends were sharing these awesome sales ideas in one webinar. Or Harlan Ackel is a great example too because he specializes in reverse mortgages and they got a nasty name after the market crash, but FINRA changed their stance, but not everybody knows that. And what are the sales opportunities and how does this puzzle piece work? So this is just a small sampling. Mark your calendars. These are always the second Friday of the month, and almost always at 10:30 a.m. Central Time. So put in a recurring event in your calendar so you don't miss these because you're a NAPA member. You get invited to attend these for free. That's your ticket, NAPA membership. So 10:30 a.m. Central, second Friday of the month. Mark your calendars. Speaking of our Power Session Live webinar presenters, we've been doing this for so long. People ask us all the time saying, why don't you have a conference? Why don't you have a conference? So we are actually doing it. So you are officially invited to attend the first ever Real Wealth Advisor Symposium featuring the great lineup of previous Power Session Live, all the favorites that NAPA members have rated as their favorite. You get to attend. NAPA does have a discount code of $200, but because you're an attending today, If you register today, we will knock off $400. So we'll make sure, Suzanne and I will make sure you get all that information. It's going to be an amazing event. It is April 29th through May 1st. And the headliners include the likes of Dan Miller, Tom Hegna, David McKnight, Curtis Cloak. It is going to be amazing, and I hope to see you there. So with that little minor interruption and promo, I'm going to flop over to the podcast side, and this is where the marketing piece is really, really fun. So the podcast, as I mentioned, it is an online radio program. That's what a podcast is. And before I start showing you real, like live demos of where it's hosted and how you share it, I do want to dive a little bit deeper into just the concept of why it's so effective, because personally, I love my job because I have one foot in the industry and one foot out. You know, I have a general understanding, you know, of the inner workings of the industry, but at the same time, I have a consumer perspective, and I think that makes me a really effective marketer because I can explain to both halves what the other side mean and what they're thinking, and help eliminate that gray area. So what I want to share with you today is something that I believe is really valuable. Advisors and all financial professionals, I think your biggest weakness is how smart you are. This is your career, this is your livelihood, you understand the financial industry, and it's almost difficult for you to understand how much people don't know. You've all seen the statistics, people are not saving for retirement, but it's not as simple as saying, save for retirement, I can help. So I'm going to show you some examples of not just why the podcast is effective, but also, you know, how holistic and comprehensive it is, no matter what you specialize in. Because if you want to uphold a fiduciary standard and really help people and impact them, you want to be helping them in every way you can, not just, I sell life insurance, learn about life insurance. And that's really what we're here about. Our actual company mission, our tagline, everything is to educate, motivate, and inspire. Because our goal is to get Americans to make smart financial decisions. And we know the best way to do that is qualified professionals, specifically NAIFA members like yourself. So with that, here's some examples of why the podcast is effective, even in ways you might not have suspected. So the first example I have here is Tom Hegna, very, very obvious example. He has a PBS special. He's known in consumer circles as a financial guru. And you obviously want your clients to be listening to people like Tom Hegna, and, you know, maybe not Susie Orman, or whether or not you agree with those people. But Tom Hegna has some really, really great information, and he's been a featured guest. So when you're an NAIFA member, you get to share Tom Hegna telling your clients why they need to be meeting with you. It's so fantastic. But furthermore, you know, when your clients are listening or prospects are listening to the show, they're not saying, you know, Tom's not saying, go to tomhegna.com and be my client. You know, definitely not. It's Tom Hegna saying, hey, do you know any women? The answer is yes. Of course you know women. So, hey, and then he obviously dives into the reasons of why retirement's different for women. So this was a very, very popular episode because everybody knows women, and not everybody knows the challenges that they face in retirement versus men. Another great example on the other end of the spectrum really is this episode we featured with the guest by Liz Thames on an episode on frugal living. She is not a PBS guest, and she is, you know, not a well-known author, you know, anything like that. On the flip side, she's just a nice woman who has an online blog about saving, you know, pinching your pennies. And this episode really spoke to people because how are people going to have the money to invest with you or, you know, insure themselves properly with you if they don't have a budget? If, you know, today's everything is very consumerist. You know, I need to buy this, I need to have my iced coffee every day. And this is a really great way to not just say save your money, but also this could make you happy. And we actually had an advisor call us and say, you know, thank you for sharing this. I had a client who was finally able to talk to his wife about their money because she was just spending credit card money and didn't want to talk about a budget because she thought it was going to take something away from her. And this episode really spoke to her and said, it's not about the money, it's about what you do with it and how you can be a better version of you. Here's a great episode I wanted to use an example with you all. Curtis Cloak NAVA member, very, very great speaker, you know, really well known in the financial industry. But what's interesting about this is our job, being the marketing brains behind the scenes for you, we took this episode, which is very, very good, but we titled it the retirement checklist, because retirement is frankly very, very daunting to consumers. You know that people aren't saving very well. That's why you're here in the industry. It's why you're a NAVA member. You want to help people, but you can't just share information. You know, you can't just show up and throw up and say, oh my gosh, I have all this information to share with you. And people, you know, it's clickbait. People love clicking on top 10 things. I want a checklist. I want it to be simplified. So on the episode, you know, it is a checklist of things to cover with you, their financial professional. Another great example, I already mentioned Selfie Taylor was on Power Session Live, and he also did a podcast. And before I dive into why this episode was so successful in speaking to consumers, I want to point out that a lot of times the Power Session Live will simultaneously, the guest will simultaneously have a podcast airing, because while you're getting those sales ideas and the strategies, at the same time your clients are listening to a podcast on that same information. So they work together. It's really great. So while Selfie Taylor was presenting on Power Session Live, this episode also came out for consumers, and it's called The Longest Vacation of Your Life. And he flat out says on the episode, hey, how much time did you spend planning your last vacation? Weeks, months? Did you stay up late planning itineraries and how much money and budgeting this and that? Well, have you done that for your retirement? Literally the longest vacation of your life. So that was a really, really great episode, because people were kind of like, yeah, that's me. I spent a lot of time on my vacation and not my retirement. This is an excellent example of getting the Social Security benefit you deserve, because you probably know this already. People are emotional about their money. And especially when it comes to something like Social Security that we've all paid into, all of us, we deserve our benefit. And this episode is very powerful because it shakes that myth that you probably know, but almost all consumers don't know, that when they file the claim or walk into a Social Security office, it is not Social Security's job to help them optimize. It's their job to read their paperwork and say, okay, sure. So this is such a great way to motivate people to not only come to you with their Social Security, and then you can point out, yeah, this is just a piece of the puzzle. You can help them even more. But this is a very, very powerful episode. And don't let people's net worth affect them from this, because rich people, this might be the only benefit that they get, and they also earned it and deserve it. So this was a very effective episode. The last example I'm going to share with you is how the new tax law can benefit you. And the reason I'm sharing this is actually applicable to both Power Session as well as the podcast, and that is that they're timely and relevant. So obviously the Trump tax laws that are taking effect right now, that's a huge change and probably affects a lot of people's retirement. You know, when your taxes are on sale right now, so that affects the way everyone's doing everything. And you have time to pick up the phone and call every single client and prospect and say, hey, this is changing, meet with me, we need to take a look at things again. So the podcast is a great way to reach everybody in one fell swoop. It explains, you know, the highlights of the changes, who it affects the most, but ultimately, and here's the point, no matter who the guest is, no matter what the topic is, the point is meet with your financial professional. This is why it's so important to meet with qualified professionals. Don't do this by yourself. So that's kind of the theme of the show. So with that, I am going to pull up some live samples for you. Okay, pull up a website. I'm going to share a few things with you today. All right, so the first website I have up, this is ClientCast.com. This is strictly an informational website where you can find out more about your benefit, everything I'm explaining to you today. But it's a great resource website because it just explains who we are and what you're getting. Just want to make sure you know this exists. What I'm really going to show you is the podcast itself. So I'm going to unmute my computer. You can hear that. So the show loads like a YouTube video, just pops up and plays. And that's really helpful because when you share the podcast, it's a link, it's hosted on a website, again, kind of like a YouTube video. And if anyone clicks on it, they get it. That doesn't require a download, doesn't require an iTunes account, RSS subscriptions, anything complicated. Doesn't matter if your clients are 10 or 110, they can tune in. So that's really helpful. Now about this, the show, this website never changes. It's always realwealthmedia.com/NAFA. NAFA members can share the NAFA ClientCast for free. That's part of your NAFA benefit. How it actually works is on the first of every month, you get an announcement email from us. Looks a little something like this. It'll say, hey, NAFA member, got a great new episode for you this month. Here's the title and the guest. Of course, we give you a couple of the highlights so that you know what it's about. And then right off the bat, we lay out the opportunity for you. So here's the show, but we recommend you approach someone who fits this demographic. Ask them, hey, did you know that you can use life insurance and ABC, XYZ to help you with your taxes? And then access, we even provide a resource that you can use to learn a little bit more about these strategies. So now get the word out. So there is actually, if you click this, it will take you to a website where you get everything you need to share the podcast. So I'm just going to pull that up for you. It's got, you can see it's broken up into tabs. There's email, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. It's literally all sitting there ready to grab and go, even with a copy button. And the reason it's copy and paste because we want it to be really flexible. We don't know what kind of, there's NAFA members abound. We don't know if you're using Outlook, are you using a work Gmail, are you using something else? So we want to be flexible. So there it is, ready to grab and go. Feel free to check it out. Literally grab the images right off the website and post away. There's so much content and it's very, very easy to use. If you do want some more information on the actual mechanics of copying and pasting or posting on social media, I'll be sure to send Suzanne some information for you guys where you can get that information as well, because we're here to support you. We don't ever want technology to be a barrier to you marketing. Our goal is to make it easy for you. So that is how it actually works. So I'm going to take a moment here and pull up my slides again because I do want to cover a couple more items before I jump into the other half of my program today. We get this question a lot from NAFA members. They say, is this compliance approved? And the answer is likely. We pre-approve with a lot of compliance departments. If you see in green, it's 100% pre-approved and automatic and turnkey. If you see your company name in black, that means there are representatives from that firm that are using our materials or resources in some way, shape, or form, and we're happy to help you figure that out. So if you don't even see your name on the list, let me know. I would love to reach out and try to pre-approve for you. We literally do everything we can to make it as easy as possible. So with that, I want to point out, people ask me all the time, anybody can sell anything, but does it actually work? And the answer is yes. So the marketing, remember I was telling you, we title shows very deliberately. The subject line is chosen very deliberately. And we found that our email open rates are over 35% over the industry average. So that's huge. An average financial professional sending out a marketing email, you're going to get about a 10% open rate. Ours average between 15 and 35%, depending on the quality of your list and who is actually getting the information. It's very, very, very effective. We're pretty cheeky about our subject lines, trying to get people to open and absorb that information for you. Another thing is that, we can't actually measure your production. We're just the providers here. So luckily, one of our partner companies is a broker-dealer, and they did a study themselves. They wanted to make sure they were getting the return on their investment. So they measured advisors who were sharing the content. They measured their production 90 days before and 90 days after. And they found that 15% of advisors doubled their production just by using the outreach and the drip marketing. And then that doesn't stop there. 40% of advisors increase at least 15%, and 90% increase at least 10%. So that is a huge statistic. It does work. I also have a couple of testimonials I want to share with you, right from the horse's mouth. A lot of these guys are NAIFA members. Adam Solano is a great NAIFA member, and his testimonial is fantastic because Adam actually specializes in investments. That's his thing. But remember, I was telling you earlier, the show is comprehensive on purpose, and we have Power Session to support you, so you have the the resources you can to learn about different ideas and products. But even if that's not you at all, we want you to be the resource so you can safely refer business out. And we want you to be the quarterback so you don't potentially lose your business, all the business of the client, to someone else who is interested in something else and you just didn't have the information. And what's interesting about Adam is he almost didn't share this episode on whole life insurance. So the guest was yet another fantastic NAIFA member, John Wheeler. And in that episode, he explained to consumers, life insurance, whole life insurance is almost like owning a home. You get equity and it's valuable, whereas term insurance is like renting, and you pay and you use it while you get it, and then it's gone. So that really kind of opened people's eyes, and then John Wheeler took it a step further and explained it that it's an asset class, and it's so valuable. And then so Adam, who doesn't really focus in on life insurance, doesn't sell a ton of it, phone was ringing, and he sold $60,000 of whole life premium just by sharing this one valuable episode. A couple other testimonials I want to share with you real quick. I know I'm pretty chatty, but I'll try to keep it brief. The Kevin Lynch testimonial on the bottom left, that's one of my favorites because he had this giant database and it was a lot of cold leads. And when he started sharing the content regularly, people were reaching out to him that they had just simply forgotten he was there. So drip marketing is important, and this content works great because on one spectrum you have Adam Solano's testimonial where it just it resonated with a couple people and boom, sales, sales, sales. On the flip side, Kevin just used it as a way to drip and remind people he's there, because no matter how good the information is, not everybody's ready to move right away. Maybe they're not in that time of their life. Maybe they don't have enough money. Maybe they're in the middle of a transition. Something's going on. There's 100 reasons why leads go cold, even if they're good leads with lots of money. Life happens. We all know that. So it's a great way to drip market without having to do any work because the content's all provided because you're a NAIFA member. But my favorite testimonial is the Chet Kohler one. The story behind that is that he had a woman interview him to be her advisor because her husband passed away. He was a stockbroker, very wealthy, handled all the finances. So when he passed, she was unfortunately very clueless as to their financial situation. But she was well connected, so she met with several qualified advisors. I think Chet was like the 7th or 8th person that she interviewed, and she passed. And he said, no worries, good luck on your search. I'm going to add you to my podcast list because I want to make sure you're getting quality information no matter where you end up. A year goes by, and she comes back and hires him and said she couldn't find someone that cared enough and gave her information and didn't just knock down her door and say, what's your net worth? And she just thought that was so valuable, and now she is Chet's client. Her kids are Chet's clients, and their spouses are Chet's clients, and their in-laws' parents are Chet's clients. And furthermore, that client lives in Hawaii, so Chet and Mrs. Kohler get to go to Hawaii all the time. So it's just a win-win-win-win-win. It is one of my favorite testimonials. I love that. So just to kind of recap everything we've talked about so far, everything I've said so far is free because you're a NAIFA member. So you get a very, very quality consumer podcast to share with your community of clients and prospects. Every single month there's a great new topic. You can share that for free, and you get that hand delivered to you. Pops right in your inbox on the 1st of every month. Thank you, NAIFA. You also get invited to attend the Power Session Live webinars every month for free. These are amazing. Don't miss them. Second Friday of the month. And that's everything that you get for free. So on the second half of the presentation today, I'm going to focus on some of the optional Some of the, we have a Premier member option that you can opt into if you want to, and it's extremely valuable and amazing, and I can't wait to show it to you. But just to kind of fill this out, you get some stuff for free, and if you want extra features like branding, automation, unlimited access, that's available to you at a huge, huge discount because you're an AFA member. So this whole $99 setup fee and $50 a month, just to put that in perspective for you, if an advisor gave us a call and was not affiliated with NAFA or another partner organization and said, I want to be a member, their fee would be $250 to $300 per month. It varies a little bit, but it's upwards of $300 per month, and their setup fee alone is $250. And I'll get into why momentarily, because there's a lot of value that comes with the onboarding process, but it's really important to recognize that that $50 a month is such a huge discount because of your NAFA membership. One of the highlights of the features, and this is just a little bit, I'll get in depth in a moment, but we have an automated distribution marketing system called the Real Wealth Content Marketing System. This is something homegrown. We built it here out of demand, because we used to be, the radio show and then the podcast, and we used to be content only, and advisors kept saying, this is great, don't have time to do it. So we built this out of popular demand. And, if the reason that we built it, though, is because it was sort of emulated off of like a Constant Contact or MailChimp, if you guys have ever heard of or used anything like that. But the reason we built our own version is for two reasons. One, we put the content in there for you, so you don't need to sit there and, when you could be calling clients, drag and dropping a box here and filling out an email here. That's all done. Emails and the social media posts are prepped. The content is done, linked, scheduled, done. But furthermore, being a tool like Constant Contact or MailChimp, while being automated, gives you the option to be as involved or as uninvolved as you want to be. And this is important because some advisors don't want to do any marketing at all. They don't have time. All they want to do is just clients, appointments, boom, great. Well, with a program like this, the marketing goes out, and we can automate other things too. Birthday emails, happy wedding anniversary, client reminder emails. Hey, let's review your plan. Don't forget to meet with me annually. Holidays, the kind of things you should be doing, but literally wouldn't have a job if you sat there and did it all day because you wouldn't be with clients if you were marketing all day. So basically, before I really show you the samples, the point I really want to impart with you is that you can choose. So all of that is automated, but if you want, you can log in, you can design templates. I'm going to host a seminar. I'm going to invite everybody. I'm going to link it here. I'm going to see who's coming. You can check your analytics. You can tag and list and make lists and groups and for some targeted marketing. There's so much cool stuff you can do. Or if you never log in ever, it's still going to work. So here's just a couple screenshots of the things, because I don't have a 10-hour webinar to show you all the really, really cool features. So here's a quick splattering of them, and then I'll be sure to show you, the main functions, what's included. So, on your screen here, you can see some samples of the automated features I was showing, like the NAFA ClientCast emails, holidays, thank you, birthday, Facebook, LinkedIn, social media, Twitter, and then what's really cool is just on the screenshot here, you can see a sample of how it shows you your results right off the bat. You don't even need to dig around for your analytics. It's pretty cool. So I'm going to pull down my slides here and show you some real samples. Let's get into it. All right. So here is my sample account. I have fake contacts in here. I don't really do any email marketing to David Bowie and Michael Jackson, so you have to forgive me. I only have 40 fake contacts in here, but it's enough to show you what's included. So you'll notice that, again, it's like Constant Contact or MailChimp. It has CRM type features where you can put in contact information. You can customize your fields if you want. Maybe you want to keep track of who's an A-rated client, a B-rated client. So you can send them different messages than your C-rated clients. That's a possibility for sure. I'm going to hover over posts here. This is where all the cool stuff happens. Campaigns, this is really the only thing I had time to show you today. This is the automated feature stuff that we've built in to work for you. But just so you know, you can design your own templates, schedule and send your own social media blasts. The benefit of using a tool like this instead of just going on Facebook, for example, and posting is that it's a scheduling feature. So let's say, for example, you know you're going to have a seminar next month, and you know you want to post on social media about it every day, but you don't have time to go on Facebook every day when you should be working. So you can sit down and in one sitting, you can schedule social media posts out for the rest of the month and call it a day. Email posts is where you can design and send your own email blasts, and analytics, audience groups. Groups is where you can create lists of people for targeted marketing, lots of cool stuff. I'm going to dive into the campaign section. So I want to show you what's working for you no matter what. I've got some holidays in here, got a client annual renewal. I'm going to show you what the real wealth stuff looks like in action because there's a very particular strategy going on. What's neat about the podcast emails, so here's a preview of what the actual email is going to look like when it lands in your client or prospect inbox. They're very mobile friendly. And what's neat is you see how, hey, check out this episode. The email itself is literally 2 sentences because statistically speaking, people aren't going to read more than that anyway. So this is what sets us apart. You know, these aren't just your same old stale newsletters that nobody's really reading. We actively engage people with subject lines and topics that matter to people, and then we don't lose them because when they open your email, they're not bored immediately. So it's 2 sentences, and then there's always a guest photo and a cute image. If you've ever been on social media ever, you know people love their inspirational quotes and they like to just share the bejeez out of that. They just love that stuff. So, and all of this is linked. If you're a Premier member, instead of the free NAFA show, you actually get your own branded version. So you can either have a really good looking landing page like this, or there are options for you to embed the show into your own website. So that's pretty cool too. This flexibility does come with the Premier option. So if you wanted to embed it, it looks like this. You choose, and you can customize it. You choose if you want the menu to be expanded or collapsed right away. You pick the color of the buttons so they can match your website color scheme, stuff like that. So those are all options. And then further down, there's a little bit of a recap of the last episode, you know, just getting people to tune in. And on the bottom, there's, of course, your signature area with your social links, unsubscribe, and disclosure, and that can all be added completely automatically with every single episode. So that is a little taste test of what comes with Premier membership. And one other thing that comes with Premier membership is full access to the Power Session Live webinar library. And this is huge. So as an NAFA member, you can attend these webinars every single month for free. Your only ticket is that you have to be there. You have to be there during the live presentation in order to participate. The recordings, the whole archive is actually a Premier member benefit. It's almost like a Netflix subscription. When you are a Premier member, you can log in and it unlocks everything. And there is so much great information in here. I don't have enough time. So coming up this Friday, I'll make sure you all have the link to join, is an amazing speaker, Brian Byers. He's a longtime MDRT top of the table advisor. He's going to be talking about veterans benefits because everyone need to make sure we're taking care of our vets. And kind of like Social Security, it's easy to just assume that if you're a veteran, that you're going to get your benefits and that's that. But there's ways to optimize it and find out things, and there's sales opportunities in here. And veterans benefits changed last year, so you don't want to miss this one. We've had previous guests talking about business succession, LinkedIn marketing. This was a fantastic one. Don Quante was on. He's literally the country's top long-term care producer in the country. So he obviously had some great nuggets of information in there. You could learn a thing or two from him. David McKnight talking about his Power of Zero strategy, get yourself in the 0% tax bracket for retirement. The list goes on and on and on. So these are all available. The recordings are unlocked for Premier members, so you don't want to miss that. With that, I'm going to jump back to my screen because I want to show you one of my favorite testimonials. This one actually came from when we were visiting the NAPA P+P conference in San Antonio this past fall. Jim Van Ham, great NAPA member, he literally chased us down the lobbies, like running through the San Antonio Convention Center going, guys, wait, I got to tell you something. He recently added the extra Premier features, and he was just completely shocked about it because he had been wanting to do email and social media marketing, and so he'd been hunting around to pay like a marketing consulting agency in the Chicago area to do that for him. And he found he couldn't find anyone to do anything for less than $2,000 for the content creation, the compliance approval, because we already have a relationship with Jim's broker-dealer, the distribution, the maintenance, the branding, not to mention the work that he would have had to do the compliance approval since they didn't do it. It was such a huge shocker to him to see the sticker price. So never underestimate the power of marketing automation. It's huge. So I think I mentioned this before. I'm going to dive into this now. The setup fee is just $99. It's a discount for NAPA members if you're interested in Premier. The onboarding process is a series of 2 phone calls. One is just the quick enrollment, hey, let's get your information. But the second one is a full-blown marketing consultation, and that's your onboarding, you know, hey, we just built your service, this is what it looks like, this is what you get. But there's so much wrapped up into that term marketing consultation. So just to show you the value proposition of that $199 fee, the marketing consultation comes with personalized recommendations for your strategy and your goals. So, you know, I'm showing you all this cool stuff, but what if this person does it this way and this person does it that way, but this person has this and this, you know, it goes on and on. It's a conversation. I really like to learn about what you're doing, what resources you have, how can we make this work, how do they talk to each other, what's the best way to do this? And in the implementation alone, we help you figure out how to configure your connections to your social media accounts so that we can just automatically post on there for you. As far as your contacts are concerned, we integrate with Redtail, and if you don't use Redtail, you don't need to know how to import because we do it for you. We do a lot of hand-holding in the beginning because our goal is to get you set up, launched, and automatic, getting value as quickly as possible. So if you can just send us the list, we'll clean it up, we'll import it, we'll get you all set up. We can help you drive the traffic to your own website if you want to embed that. We brand your email templates for you, make sure you like the way it looks. Kind of like the sample I showed you with the logo on the top and the signature on the bottom. We set up your branding. We can even send out an announcement email. You know, you can tell everyone on your contact list, hey, I'm going to send you this podcast. This is why it's valuable. Check it out. Forward it to friends. And that way, when they start getting your emails, they don't just think you're spamming them. There's lots of great strategies we can help you employ. Almost all of it doing all of our work, and the rest is just marketing tips for you. And then furthermore, it's not just you. It's for your team. Do you have an assistant? Do you work with a junior advisor or a senior advisor? Are you in the middle of a transition for any reason in your business? You're an NAPA member now, so that's awesome. So who can we help in addition to you? We're happy to train anyone and everyone on your team on the resources that are available to you. So that is just the value proposition of your marketing consultation, not to mention the ongoing automation and service that you're getting. The biggest thing I kind of want to end on, I know we're approaching our hour here before we get to Q&A, is that we grow and add features when people ask for them. We build relationships with compliance departments when people help us make those connections. So if there's anything that you're seeing and you think, oh, it would be cool if it did ABC, but what about X, Y, Z? Tell me, because that's how we grow, that's how we make it better. We never just want to be stagnant. So here's some features we'll be rolling out in the next quarter. because people were asking for them. So one thing is the notification system. Like I said, we were trying to make it as easy as possible with the results and your analytics and stuff like that. And people were saying, well, I don't even want to log in. I don't know how. Sure, we're developing a notification system where you pick out, okay, I want to be emailed every week about whose birthday is coming up and who opened my emails the most last week, stuff like that. So that is coming soon. Redtail integration is actually launching next week, so we're very excited about that. If you have a CRM that you think is up and coming, is going to be widely used, and we're not integrating yet, let me know. More campaign options. So we're actually launching holidays next week. We're very excited about that. But something that's in the works that we're working really hard on developing to make it really quality is some extra campaigns that are either product specific or milestone specific. So for example, hey, you're turning 65, have we talked about your Medicare yet? Or hey, you're almost 70, let's talk about your RMDs, stuff like that. Want to make sure that anything that requires work for you in terms of outreach, let's try to help. The podcast player, widget, and phone app. So the widget, the embeddable player that you see, that is launched already, but it does talk to an app, so that is cool too. We're making the final touches to the app right now. Also, there's a custom subscribe feature. This was a great request. We built this because someone asked for it. It was a great idea. There's an unsubscribe feature, of course, that's polite and required by law. But as far as, we didn't want it to be an all or nothing thing. So people were asking, hey, can we categorize our messages? So if maybe someone doesn't want to get, my holiday greetings, but they do like the podcast, people have the opportunity to customize that. But again, what do you want to see you guys help us grow? So the last thing I want to tell you about is I just want to congratulate you for joining NAIFA. You made a really smart decision for your career, and to kind of put it all into perspective, even just from the NAIFA ClientCast viewpoint, you're getting a lot of stuff that would cost exponentially more if you weren't a NAIFA member. So when you're a NAIFA member, we're just a little bit of what you get everything else. Non-NAIFA members get none of that. As a NAIFA member, you get free monthly marketing content from us and the sales ideas, all that power session and NAIFA ClientCast material. Non-NAIFA members get none of that. NAIFA members get free access to Power Session Live. We require non-NAIFA members and other non-subscribers they pay a $100 entrance fee, and you do not. So that is a huge value proposition. So if you add up all the numbers, your NAIFA dues might be anywhere between $400 and $700. I'm not sure, it varies greatly. But the Premier Service setup fee is $99 and your monthly service is $50. So if you add up your NAIFA actual dues plus our Premier fee, so this is laying out the cost. Let's just be honest, how much does it cost for all of this? Less than $2,000. Whereas non-NAIFA members, they pay no NAIFA dues, great. Their Premier Service setup fee is $250, and their NAIFA ClientCast or their Real Wealth service is $300 per month. So they're paying almost $4,000, and they get none of the other amazing benefits you get with your NAIFA membership. So I hope that really kind of lays it all on the line for you. You guys made a really smart decision. So just as a quick recap, the basic service is free. You get a free podcast you can share with your clients and prospects, and you get invited to Power Session Live webinars every month. And with Premier Service, you get the branding and the automation and unlimited access to Power Session Live, and that's just the $99 setup fee and $50 a month. A quick reminder, if I blew your socks off talking about all these cool speakers and sales ideas, come see them in person. NAIFA will be there, so you can come and say hi. I'll be there, so you can come and say hi. And these guys will be there. And what's really cool about this event, and another reason why I urge you to register today, because for one, you're going to get $400 off if you register today, but also this event is actually limited to 125 seats. It's a very small, intimate venue. It's very beautiful, And it's the type of event where you don't have to go and see this person but miss that. Everybody sees everything. So you're going to see 10 headliners in 2 days. So it's a huge value. I want to make sure you know that. So with that, I'll wrap up. I got my good 15 minutes in. I didn't see any questions coming in. Suzanne, do you see anything?
I did not see anything, so I think we are good to go. I want to thank you again, Jade, for an awesome presentation. And again, encourage everyone to hop on and get this on the calendar. I know for a lot of our members who are some of the top producers out there, they just have this one slated into the calendar. They know they're going to do this. And again, can't emphasize enough how excited we are for the first Real Wealth Symposium. So we're really excited to have that in that small format. I think it's going to be an awesome time. Thank you for the invite, Jade. So with no further ado, thanks again, and we will talk soon.
Sounds good. Bye.
Bye.